What's up, guys? Muller Reaver here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are going to be taking a look at the new meta for Hydra. That is the Yumeko Infinity comp. If you haven't seen this yet, basically Yumeko teams have been dominating the landscape of Raid ever since Yumeko has come out. All of the other areas in the game, there are teams that exist. We've talked about it, of course, for Demon Lord Clan Boss, for dungeon runs, for all sorts of crazy stuff. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, the Mad Kraken himself, Victor Tez, was able to get the Yumeko team to work against Nightmare Hydra. And with Hydra Clash coming out, it has been a mad dash for basically every endgame and Kraken account to make this team in order to score billions of points against the Hydra and win their clash. So we're going to take a look at mine. I currently sit at second with about 16 billion, which is actually the run that we're going to look at today. Number one being Timot 2A, put up 20 billion. Victor, I believe, currently sits at fourth place with about 13 billion, things like that. So it has gotten pretty crazy. Now, the Infinity team actually does, even the traditional one, does work, particularly against normal or hard. You can do some variations for brutal, but really, if you want to be successful towards Nightmare, this is basically going to be the team, because everybody's going to play a role specifically for the additional stuff that they're going to bring. So you can see with me, we've got, of course, Brogni. He is the linchpin of the Infinity team. We've got Lanicus here. She is pretty pivotal for the turn meter boost that she brings, along with her ally attack, along with her buff extension. She is the only buff extender that we're bringing here. Of course, the Yumekos are going to reset everybody so that every turn Lanicus is going to be able to do that buff extension. Of course, we've got Corpulent here. We're going to take a look at the builds here in a second a little bit better. Corpulent, we've got our two Yumekos, and then we are bringing in Lydia. Lydia is one going to bring in the increased speed as well as strengthen buff, which will help us in the beginning. But the increased speed is going to be very important, along with, of course, the decreased defense and weaken that she brings. And then you can see she's in a cursed set. So that being said, let's go over the champions. So our fastest champion is actually going to be Lanicus. She is going to be faster than everybody else. I guess I should start here. As far as Great Hall bonuses, I do have a little bit of Great Hall bonus. I spent most of my medals for other things, but we were able to get 10 speed, which is kind of important, as well as a little bit of extra damage, mainly for Brogni. So we will include those in the stats as we go. Bring it back up here. So our fastest champion again is Lanicus here. Now Lanicus I do have in a provoke set. This is specific to the start of the fight. In this rotation, we actually have the Head of Decay, which is going to be the cleansing head. And then of course we have Mischief, which is the one you can't target unless you put Hex up. And is the one that always tries to steal buffs. So we've got Provoke set on Lanicus here to try to provoke Decay, at least for the first time. If you can get the Provoke up more than that, it is far more helpful. However, just delaying that cleanse at least one turn makes it a lot easier to get the run started. As far as general stats go, she is our fastest at 318. That is with the area bonus. We've got resistance on her. She is going to be a target of the Mischief a lot. So you need to be able to resist getting her buff stolen. And the rest of it is just kind of as much damage as we can get in while having the rest of the stats that we need. So again, Provoke is the important part here. She does have Brimstone. You don't really use that a lot because the heads are dead. She is booked. As far as masteries go, we've got her down to War Master. Let me slide myself over a bit. We've got her down to War Master. Actually, I'll slide myself in the middle. That'll just be easier. And then the support tree. This, for other purposes, obviously is not going to be useful here for us. Next up, we have our two Yumekos. We've got, both of them are both pretty quick. This is our faster one. They are in just broken sets just to get them, or at least this one is in just broken sets. She is 305, enough resistance again, because she is also the Yumekos and the Lanicus are the main targets. However, Lydia can become a target. Corpulent can become a target as well. So we have resistance on pretty much everybody where we can. But we got enough resistance to prevent mischief. And then we've got some accuracy because her hex are quite important, and you do need accuracy to land her hex from her A2. A 305 speed, and then just kind of whatever we can get else on her to get the stats that we need. Again, broken set. She is booked, of course. For masteries, we went down to the Eagle Eye for extra accuracy. This was actually, I believe, my arena build, and I never changed anything on her. We don't really need any masteries for her. Next fastest I have in a shield set. This is to give Corpulent his second shield. Everybody else can have a shield, but they don't get attacked too much, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference for everybody else. It is mainly for Corpulent, but having the shield set on her opens up the fact that you now no longer need a divine set on Corpulent. So she is sitting at 300 speed. Again, enough resistance and whatever accuracy we could get on her so that she can land her hex, and then whatever stats after that. Masteries, we're down to War Master for her, and then the support tree, of course, booked. Next up, we have, let's go for Lydia. Lydia is going to be our AoE hexer, so she is in a curse set. She's going to be doing her A2 the whole time. So as placing the hex is incredibly important. It's important for two reasons. One, of course, we have Mischief. Mischief can screw up the tune real quick by stealing buffs, by stealing turn meter, because he also steals turn meter, not just the buffs. And if you need to target him, which you absolutely need to do, you need to put hex on him. So Lydia with the AoE hex, along with our two Yumekos with the hex options, allow it to, for the most part, keep that hex up pretty quick so that you can destroy, or you can pop his head as quickly as you can, because he can mess things up. But again, she is in the curse set for that reason. We've got 294 speed. Bit of crit rate. We've got 420 accuracy, and so she can land her debuffs. I don't have enough resistance on her to resist mischief, but it is what it is. It's the best curse set I got, so we got to use what we have. She's in a arena build as well. She's down to War Master on her T6. Who do we got left? We've got Corpulent here. I've got him in double retaliation along with some speed. We've got triple revenge accessories as well. In the beginning, if he can get a couple extra hits in just to help pop the heads a little bit faster, it is quite beneficial. We've got 260 speed for him, and enough resistance so that he doesn't get his buff stolen. Of course, if he gets his buff stolen, then that's pretty much start over, because that's where all of his damage is coming from, and he is the one that is doing the damage. Again, he is only going to A1 the whole time. And then we are down to War Master for his T6. Then it is Brogni. Of course, Brogni, again, the linchpin of the comp. He is the one doing all of the damage, so as much damage as you can get on him, the better. Depending on the tune, so I have mine fully crit capped. Of course, we are bringing in Lanicus here, so we could use her A3 in order to get our increased crit rate buff up. I don't use that on mine, so I have mine fully crit capped. 4.8k attack, 391 crit damage. We don't need accuracy really or resistance on him. He's not going to be a target. And then 291 speed. So all the speeds here are really quick. It is to try to keep the 1-to-1 between themselves. We're going to go about 2-1 between the bosses. So you'll see like Lanicus gets 2 turns before any of the bosses tend to get a turn, things like that. But obviously the more Corpulent goes, the more damage we're just going to do. The more Brogni goes, the bigger the shields are going to get. The more Lydia goes, the more hex chances that we have up, the decreased defense. Of course, Lanicus is our fastest, so she's going to be going the most. If we look at our then presets, the team can run on auto. I do not necessarily recommend it for Nightmare, just because it goes really fast, the bosses are really quick, and Mischief can mess up the run real fast. So manualing it so that you get that hex up, you're not targeting the wrong heads. Getting hex on the broken necks, the decapitated heads, is pretty important, because as you'll see towards the end of the run, we're getting about 17 million per neck in splash damage from hex alone. So Corpulent gets up to around, I think, 60 million on a single hit, and that spreads 17 to everybody else. So that's what, almost 100 million damage in one shot from one attack towards the end. So it gets pretty crazy. So that hex is important, and getting Mischief hexed up so you can target him is also important. However, if you want to do like Brutal, it works pretty well on Brutal. You just have to make sure that sometimes the Yumekos will actually cross paths. So instead of one doing the A3 while the other one does the A2, they will both have their A3 ready. And if they do them back to back, then you'll have to stop and reset them. You don't have to stop the run. You just have to turn it off auto, get them back to alternating, and then you are good to go. So as far as for the presets, we are going to prioritize her reset and then prioritize the hex on the A2s. That's the same for both of them. For Lydia, we're just going to prioritize her A2 because that is all we want her to do. Lanicus, all we're going to do is her A2, which is the ally attack and buff extension. Brogni, of course, is only doing his A2. We are going to open with his A3. Also, if any buffs get stolen or if the tune gets off and somebody runs out of buffs, the only champion we really care about having the buffs on the entire time is Corpulent. That is why he's the slowest, so he's actually going to have an extra stack or two, and won't usually run into running out of his buffs. However, the other champions can. They'll get stolen from Mischief. They'll if the tune gets off between the Yumekos, they might lose them, which case you can just reapply them. They don't need them. They don't need giant shields. They're not going to get attacked and things like that. So we use Brogni's A3 in the beginning. The block debuffs is pretty important. This is also our second shield. After that, it's just going to be the A2, and then we can stop it and use the A3 if we ever need to down the road. Corpulent, all he is only ever doing is his A1. So those are the champs. That's the presets. We're going to watch the run. I am going to pop off. It's a recording of the run. I did it last night. It's actually my best run so far. So we'll take a look at that, and then I will pop in at the very end so we can look at the final score, and then that'll be that. All right, enjoy, guys.
safe, take what's mine. Wanna learn about what's on the inside, 'cause I feel like we're running out of time. Yeah, I'm atypical, it's all physical, so good it's criminal. Yeah, I'm invincible. Yeah, I'm atypical, it's all physical, so good it's criminal. Yeah, I'm invincible. I've been waiting for just the right time. Now I'm ready to change, it feels right. I'm ready to play the game. Adrenaline, no, it can't be tamed. Yeah, I'm atypical, it's all physical, so good it's criminal.
So here we are at the final score, 16,382,000,000, almost 83 million damage. That is Nightmare on Hydra Clash times 4, so that's what, 60, nearly 65 million or 65 billion points towards Hydra Clash. I did not keep the key, as you noticed earlier in the video. However, we've still got a day, and we're not going to lose Hydra Clash, so let's not worry about that one. However, we've got Yumeko's, both of them actually, doing about 2.5 billion damage. That is going to be mainly because of the hex that we're putting up, because the champion that applies the hex is the one that gets credit for the damage that the splash does. Lydia over there doing 2 billion. She's got her AoE hex. Lanicus bringing a whole 8 million damage. That's because she doesn't have hex. We've got Brogni over there at nearly 380 million damage, and then Corpulent Cadaver all the way on the end doing 9 billion all on his own, which is actually kind of interesting considering we did 16 and he only did 9, so he's only accounting for a little over half of the total damage. I can show you just how much or how important Hex really is to the comp. But that's it. That's what I got. It's pretty good. Enjoy it while it lasts. There have been talks from the devs, as far as what I've seen, that there will be an eventual nerf to it. They don't know what they're going to do or if they're really actually going to do it. Obviously, there was a big ado about how this needs to get nerfed right in the beginning, just because it went from, a maximum of 400 or 500 damage, or 400 or 500 million against Hydra, to billions and billions of damage against Hydra. However, it's kind of the same in any game, or in any area of the game. You get the high-end teams that not everybody has and not everybody can do them, but that's why they exist. This also, as you can see, took 80 minutes to run, and it was full manual. It's not like everybody's going to want to do that every week, because Clash is an ongoing thing. So we'll see what happens in the future, but enjoy it while it lasts. Do some damage. Win your Hydra Clash. Have fun. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time. See ya.